Hi guys. All right, continuing on in my Throwback Thursday series where I go chronologically through my epilepsy journey. See, last week I had talked about how I had my first seizure in public at work, and then later on in the day I had my first partial seizure. So now this is where I had my next partial, temporal, whatever you want to call it, seizure. So the last one was August 11th of 2020. This next one that I'm talking about today was August 18th of 2020, so a week later. And so it happened during my morning run around 8:30 in the morning. I was at that point was running around my neighborhood every morning just because I was still in my healthy mode. I'd lost 10, 15 pounds at that point, still going strong. And in the middle of the run, I started seeing out of my right eye a rainbow flashing light just in the corner of my eye. It would start at the bottom of my eye, then work its way up, flashing the whole time. And then it would go back to the bottom, work all the way up, then back to the bottom, all just over and over. And it was the first time I'd seen anything like that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of pretty. Huh. That's interesting. I felt completely fine. Was still doing my little jog, and I was like, that's weird. And just kept, blinking, rubbing my eyes, trying to get it to go away. But it wasn't. And then, in the back of my mind, I had remembered seeing on some of my Facebook groups, my epilepsy Facebook groups, them talking about light auras, letting them know a seizure was coming. And I was like, ew, is this one of those? Is this what they're talking about? Can this be that? So just in case, I took a shortcut home, and it took me about 3 minutes to get home. And in all that time, that light flashing never stopped. So I got home, and my husband Danny was here. I was like, hey, this weird light flashing thing has happened. I'm gonna just sit down, chill, see what happens. He's like, okay. So I sat down, and it was the weirdest thing. Now, my tonic, clonic, my grand mal seizures, those I go unconscious. I don't remember those at all. What happens? Now, these I can remember a lot more, most of. So I remember this happening for sure. I was sitting there, like here on this couch, and almost a euphoria came over me. It felt kind of nice, like just a zen, just kind of, just completely at peace. Still the light flashing thing, not completely losing vision at this point. It was weird, just the light flashing and zen, peacefulness, and then slowly not quite being able to speak. Just, I feel good. Whatever. Danny's like, what's going on with you? I'm good. I mean, I guess it's not funny, but it was just the wildest things. I'd never experienced that. And yeah, so I didn't lose awareness, but kind of drifted into my own little peaceful zen area. And slowly came out of it, and the light flashing went away, and I could talk, and the whole thing lasted about 20 minutes. I was like, what was that? And we kind of, were looking it up, and I guess that was a partial seizure, but didn't freak out because this sounds terrible, but it felt so nice. It was like, oh, that's weird. I guess in the back of my mind, just hoping this wasn't going to be something else bad. Like my grand mal seizures, like, oh, please don't let this be something else. I don't know. But then it happened again 2 days later on August 20th. So I think at this point, I had went ahead and stopped going to work. I had filed for short-term disability to figure out what the heck was going on. So this is the part of my story where I had quit working, and I haven't gone back since. So around August 18th, I have been on disability since then, because this is when it started snowballing, getting weirder and weirder, and we're getting into that part of the story here. So yeah, 2 days later, I had the exact same experience. It started in my run. And now, looking back, I had read that some of the triggers for that light aura could be sunlight. Sunlight coming through the trees, like filtering through the trees. And that might have set it off. So now I wear a hat and sunglasses when I go through runs. And now I'm on new medications too to help with that. So it hasn't really been an issue since. But I think that might have been a change. I don't know. I'd never had a problem with it before. But all of a sudden, maybe the sun was affecting my brain. At this point, I was still just on Keppra. We hadn't, we had kind of let my neurologist know, you know, this change is happening. And they're like, well, let's keep an eye on it. Let's, you know, now this part I don't quite remember. I think they said, let's keep an eye on it because they hadn't put me on another medication yet. They were still just keeping me on Keppra. I think they increased the dosage to see if that would help. Let me know down below if you had all of a sudden developed a different kind of seizure out of nowhere, if you had only had tonic clonics and somehow started getting partials, or if out of nowhere you started getting light sensitivity where you hadn't had it before. I'd be curious to hear. Other than that, thanks for checking in. Check in again next week, see what happens after this. And like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.